All right. Well, welcome in, everybody. Today, 30. This
Are
is a
we day
special
30?
day. It's day 30
Wow.
exactly. So,
Wow.
all of our winners on here, we made it to halfway and we're still hanging out, just getting freaking started. And some of you have already applied and started working more closely with us in the community. So that's exciting. Some of you got deals. We got in the final home stretch here in the last half. We have so many exciting things in store. We're going to be talking about title work. We're going to be talking about deal flow. We're going to be talking about closing deals. We're going to be talking about turning them to cash and deals, ways that you never thought of turning deals to cash before. We're going to be bringing in one of our favorite real estate attorneys who's going to be freaking blowing your minds with amazing information. And regardless of where you are, of course, from a Louisvillians, you're going to always love hearing from Harry. For those of you who are in other places, it's going to show you some insight of what to look for in an attorney. Uh, we have a whole bunch of other cool, exciting things in store. Too much to cover today, so we're just going to hop right into day 30, and let's get the energy gauge going. Our winners who have made it to 30 days. Type in the chat, how's your energy? 1 out of 10. We already got them coming in at 10, 8.5, 8, 9. This is good. So we have several special things to share today. I'm going to delve into a little bit about lead flow because I've noticed I keep getting feedback. Some of you who are very experienced, you're already working leads. This is going to serve you well because you're going to hear some things that maybe you forgot or maybe you hadn't heard yet. So a lot of it's going to be repetitive, but you're going to grab some great nuggets. Those of you who are newer, I'm going to blow your mind with some lead sources that are outrageous. Like freaking print the money for us as long as you know how to operate them. So that's the key. Got to know how to close them and how to get them across the finish line. Because otherwise, if you have great leads dumping in your lap and they aren't being effective, well, then we got to look in the mirror and go, what are we doing wrong? And we don't want to be out thousands of dollars in lead flow figuring that out. We want to have invested, got ourselves in the right place with the right help first. So before I delve into that, Leo, what's on your mind that you want to share a droplet of wisdom?
Absolutely. We had a mastermind call this morning, and the topic was really understanding yourself and coming to terms with yourself. And
Mm.
this was such a deep topic because we know everybody goes through it where you'll talk to someone and they'll have a mask on with how they really speak to you. It's not their truest self. And you and I, Andrew, we have come to complete terms rather with who we are. So when we discuss with each other, we understand that. And that's why us as partners, as business partners and friends, we do it so well. But also when we create a goal in our business or when we create something that we want to achieve, we go and achieve it because we show up as our truest self. Now, we got this task, me and Andrew, today, and I want to give this to you guys as well, but really coming to terms with who we are, with all of our scars. Oops, I'm getting a call. Can you still hear me? All
We
of our
can.
scars, all of our insecurities, all of our mistakes, all of our blessings, all the things that we have in our lives, and then coming full terms to that today so that as we're doing this business, as we're building relationships, building partnerships, we do it as our truest self. I want to leave that here with you guys today because it was such a strong message that we heard today. And it's a task. Whenever me and Andrew learn something, we always give it right back to you guys because we grow so fast and we grow so much from it. So, me and Andrew are showing up as our truest self where we are every single day, even when we're, traveling, doing these things, we're always going to show up. And it's a practice that we do every day. So I want to challenge you guys to show up as that truest self, show up unmasked and start having those hard conversations with yourself and with other people around you. Like, how are you really? What's really going on in your life? And how can we start healing some of those traumas and some of those things that have happened to us over the years that don't allow us to show up as our best self, don't allow us to speak to ourselves in a kind and nice way. Don't allow us to be confident because we're always saying like we're not enough or that we're stupid because we made these mistakes from the past. But if we bring those mistakes to the front, then it's always out there. It's seen. The closet is open, so you're able to just attack every single day without feeling like you're hiding something. And when you're hiding something, that is insecurity because you're always scared that something could be released, that something could be seen. So that's my little spiel for you guys today as Andrew's going over and talking about leads. And then on the other side, talking about personal responsibility.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Leo. And I think it's really cool, and that's something you do so well, is when you learn something, I've noticed this about you, every time you share it. And it's such a mindset of abundance. Because I remember, and some of you on here, I'm certain have heard things, real estate investment tips and tricks. And it's like, oh crap, I gotta, can't share this with my people. I remember going to meetups when I first started, and I was scared to share my secrets because what if somebody else does it? And then I realized that they was all too lazy to do it anyway. So what do I care? Um, and so that was a joke for me. Never mind. So I think it's interesting for us as we share that out. It does two things. Number one, uh, there's an abundance anyway. So what if 10 people in Louisville take my secrets, 20, 50 people and go do deals? It's not going to affect me. We're just going to make more money together. And then on the other side, we better learn it when we teach it. And I think that's really cool. So that's a habit I want you guys to be operating in. When you hear something on here that inspires you, when you learn a new strategy, when something and you're talking to someone else today, tomorrow, don't be afraid to share it out. Bring it up in the conversation. You're talking to somebody, say, I just recently heard X. What's your thoughts on that? So that's a very cool strategy. And thank you for sharing and showing that, Leo. So when it comes to everything good on my end, my camera just went from white to red. I don't know what that means. So
You're good.
good. So when it comes time to do deals, uh, we have these two options, and I'm being repetitive. So for those of you who are new here, in fact, I need to find out how many of you have joined the Zoom for the first time in the last 5 days. If you have, if this is first time you joined the Zoom within the last 5 days, type yes. In other words, if you're new here, have you started with us in the last 5 days? Type me in the chat. See if we got any new ones here. I want to welcome you in. If so, me, good. Welcome, Andrew. Welcome, Daniel. Good. So I say this because some of you who are brand new here is welcome, Barbara. I've had the comment actually on Facebook. I've seen people have reached out and said things like, is it too late to join? And I've said, absolutely not. It just keeps getting better. So who'll agree with me? This just keeps getting better. Type it in the chat. Yes. Get some energy up. Show some love. So I want to share with you, and about 10% of this is repetitive, about 90%, I'm just going to delve down a little closer, a little deeper. And there's two ways to get leads. Number one, we find motivated sellers by just outbound dialing, as many of you have done. You go on Facebook Marketplace, you go on Zillow, you go anywhere, you just Google houses for sale by owner, my city, whatever your city is, and you just start calling people, right? And as you are dialing these people, then you and make sure and get your questions ready because we're going to be taking questions today. As you're dialing people, you're just asking the terms questions. We agree on price. What's the least you'll take or would you consider doing a monthly payment till I pay you off in full? We're always coming back to the term scripts. Then there is inbound leads. These are my favorite. This is where the money is printed if you're good on the phones. And this plays into personal responsibility too. Not every lead source works for everybody, of course, in the same way. So you're going to hear me talk a lot about, write these down. Number one, PPL. Number two, PPC. Number three, mailings. Number four, word of mouth. Number five, physical promotions. All right. So physical promotions, that's where we go to the coffee shops. That's where we go to places like the local tire shop, the local restaurant, the little mom and pop places where maybe the owner's there and running the business. And you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Owner, if I was to pay you $500 for every time I buy a house, or $1,000 every time I buy a house from these cards I'll leave in your counter, would you be open to allowing everybody who comes in the door to get them? They say yes. You just found yourself a money printing, amazing source of inbound leads. In fact, I might recommend you consider going ahead and sending that business owner $500 about 4 days later, whether you've got a call or not. Because as soon as they get the first check, every freaking person who's eating in that restaurant or everybody who gets their tire stuff is going to be getting your cards. And that business owner is probably going to be calling you going, hey, I need more cards. So that's a really cool way to get people inbound calling you and get other people promoting you. It's a win for them. It's a win for you. And so that promotion is going to be huge for you. There is the word of mouth. We every time we buy a house or we go places, we always make sure people know we buy houses. We go to a restaurant, anywhere we go that we want to buy houses, you just let people know. You bring it up in the conversation. You have your cards. You have everybody knows that you buy houses. There's magnets on cars. There's a lot of other ways we can get into to promote that is very low cost and sometimes no cost. So there is mailings. So I'm going to give you some resources. By the way, write this website down. Um, supercheapsigns.com. Thank you, Diana. Keeping the chat answered. Supercheapsigns.com. That's where you're going to order your signs, whether you're buying houses or selling them. We get the 18 by 24 ugly handwritten. It appears like black handwriting on these 18 by 24 signs with the H wire stakes. These things have made me so much money, both buying and selling. I'm going to talk more about dispo in coming days and how to make sure your phone is ringing off the hook. So when it comes to mailings, we're going to either hire a postcard company like REI Print Mail or a yellow letter company to do mailings for us. If you're going to do mailings, that's one of my less favorite ways to do it. If you're going to do mailings, then you want to ensure that you are doing them and accepting the calls that you're getting back somewhere besides your cell phone. I'll give you a 30-second lesson on why that's important. I sent my first 700 yellow letters. I had an incredible return call rate. You'll probably not have this high return call rate, but in 2014, I had over 100 people of those 700 letters call me back. And I put my cell phone on there. And most of them hit the same day. So not smart. Get a answering service like Pat Live, and I'll give you that in the resource center, to take your calls for you if you're going to do mailings. All right. Now we're going to get to, well, let me get to one other one before I get to my favorites. There is hiring people to do cold calls. So you can buy lists. That's how you're going to choose who to mail to. Absentee out-of-state owner lists, or likely delinquents, or both, inherited properties, divorces. Those are some of my favorite lists of all time to get. Tired landlords is absentee out-of-state owners. Incredible list to get. A very large portion of our portfolios came from landlords. So now my two favorites. By the way, Nick, I'm going to give you this in the resource center. I'm covering this fast because I want to give you the overview of the lead types that there are. And I'm going to give you the resource center in just a moment to make sure you have access to who we use. There is PPL. What is PPL? That is pay per lead. This is my favorite. If you're good on the phones or you've partnered up with somebody who's good on the phones, but you're not yet ready to commit, a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month budget to marketing. So you say, no, I just need to put a couple grand into marketing. I love PPL. PPL is companies that will be in the resource center that I'm putting in the chat in like 2 minutes. Like companies like Need to Sell My House Fast. Companies like Liberty Leads. companies like Fast Home Offer, these companies that they tell you you can buy leads in this county and you bid on the lead amount, normally $100 to $200 per lead. And those leads, the right ones matched with the right areas, and all of our mastermind, you know what everyone is using in which areas, because Liberty Leads didn't work as well for me, needed somebody else fast did. So it depends on which area you're in, which source you want to best use. Some people use multiple of them. Pay per lead just simply means you find a company who's running ads and you're buying the leads exclusively as they come in. $100 to $200 per phone call usually. Because we're qualified on the phone, I've talked to a few thousand sellers. Usually one, depending on the month and the source and all of the variables, normally 1 out of 6 to 1 out of 11 calls leads to a contract that closes. 1 out of 6 to 1 out of 11 calls. So then you just start looking at the math. Okay, $200, let's say it's 200 per lead. That's kind of expensive. But let's say that, I don't know, 1 out of 20 turn to a deal. That's $4,000 to get a deal. Let's say your average deal, instead of 40,000, a little over, like ours, is only 20. How many of you would be willing, 20 times 2 is 40, so 2 deals. How many of you would be willing to write an $8,000 check if it returned 40 grand within 90 days? Type it in the chat. I would. You say, I don't have that. We got plenty of financing available. Who's willing to write $8,000 check for marketing if it returned to you in 40 grand within a few days or a few weeks? So for those of you who would be willing to do that, you know you would come up with that money somehow. Shoot, I don't care if it's a credit card, I'm coming up with the money. So once you begin to realize that is the objective, now the only thing we have to solve is, okay, we know how to get the leads. We're giving you those resources. All right, we know how to turn them to deals. Are we able, between here and there, to make sure the quality leads turn to quality checks? So filling in the blanks. All right, back to that later. PPC, pay per click marketing. That means that you pay a company to go on Google Ads or Facebook or both and run ads, and you're, quote, buying clicks, paid per click marketing. So as you are paying for pay per click marketing, the challenge is that you don't have a guarantee. You know, with the pay per leads, they tell you, you pay $200, we're sending you a lead. That's awesome. Pay per click marketing, you can hire somebody to manage your leads for $1,500 or $2,000 a month, just the management fee, and spend another $100 a day and not get a single lead. Now that's unlikely, but that's a risk you have to be willing to take. So for those of you who are experienced and capitalized, that's definitely a strategy to consider when you're ready to start spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month on marketing. So to recap, we can hire somebody to do outbound calls, cold calls, call lists like Nicholas Nick. I just put in the chat the investor toolbox. In there is Nicholas Nick's info, is the PPC, the PPL lead sources, and several others. So we have a lot of resources there for you. Now, I want to make sure we have time for questions. I have some more things to share with you. And I want to make sure I get to your questions as well. So before I go there, Leo, what am I missing?
Yeah, this is an important thing for a lot of you guys, or all of you guys right now. This is what many people miss when it comes to leads, because this call that we just did was one of the most important things you could do. Because if you get that process rolling, you always have the bloodline rolling of the business. Then you're just making the calls and the offers. Most people miss the actual lead generation part, which is in any business. If you had a consistent flow of leads, you have a business rolling. As long as you continue to do the striking part, which is making the offers. So when it comes to all of you, this is where we can all be different. We can all create our own strategy based on, number one, our budget, number two, our market, and number three, 1 out of 10, what is your skill and comfort level on the phones? For example, when we bring someone onto our accelerator, the first things we do is those three things. What is your market? What is your marketing budget? And what is your comfort level on the phone? Let's just say you're an 8. You're at comfort level 8 on the phones. Let's start buying leads right away. First, let's hear some of your calls so we can make sure the 8 is a real 8, because it might be a 2 in our eyes, but an 8 in your eyes, or it might be a 2 in your eyes or an 8 in ours. But once we can discover that, we could say, let's just start with some paid leads. Let's start with let's start with paid leads and still doing the free leads, of course, right? Or let's just say you're a 3. You're a 3 comfort level and you're not so comfortable on the phones yet. Then we're going to start with just the free leads. We're going to go to FISBOs and we're going to do bandit signs, which costs a little bit, but that's where we're going to get good. We're going to get our 3 up to an 8 comfort level, up to a 9 comfort level, so that we can start buying some leads. So, Andrew, let's do this. Let's pick someone. Everybody type in the chat, what is your market and what is your comfort level on the phones? Let's do that. What is your market? What's your comfort level on the phones? 1 out of 10. Let's choose someone, Andrew, and let's do a marketing strategy for them. Because some people take 4, 5, 6 years until they actually sit down and say, I'm going to create a strategy behind my marketing, rather than just throwing a bunch of darts at the wall and seeing what sticks, throwing a bunch of spaghetti on the wall. So, Andrew, go ahead and pick one and let's choose a marketing strategy for them to focus on for 6 months. Every time we do this, they start getting 3, 4, 5 deals. It's beautiful.
Let's jump in to they keep them coming. This is good. Mr. Andrew, I like your name. Andrew Kuntz. How are you doing, brother? Let me see if I can bring him up on stage. Boom. Andrew, are you in a place to talk?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
I am so awesome. How are you, my friend?
I'm all right. Guess I had to pick on me,
Good.
huh?
Absolutely. It is your lucky day, my friend.
All right, happy
You're
to
in
pick on.
Missouri. Yeah. You're in
Yes, I am.
Missouri and your confidence is a 6. Your phone sales is a 6.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
6 would be pretty accurate.
Good. How many calls would you say you've made to sellers?
Uh, like I've dialed or ones that I've actually picked up.
Spoke. How many conversations with sellers have you had?
Like 40 maybe.
So 40 conversations. And how did those go? Has any led to a contract or almost a contract?
Um, some have, some said, hey, we want to follow up or whatever. And then when I do follow up with them, it's either listed or it's already sold. Some of them were just kind of unsure, had to think about it. Some of them just outright, a lot of them said outright no. Um, yeah.
Okay. What would need to happen to get you from a 6 on the phone to an 8 in the next 30 days?
If I knew that, I'd be doing it already, wouldn't I?
Cool. So I'll tell you what I'm certain it is. I'm certain if you have 150 more conversations, and out of the first 10, you listen to 2 of them back, 150 conversations in a month is not very many at all, actually. That is 5 conversations a day.
Okay.
Probably means 10 dials a day. So I'm going to lay out a marketing strategy that will change your world if you're ready.
Okay. So I'm writing
All
down
right.
as you're talking.
I love it. Are you in St. Louis or a different part of Missouri? Please remind me.
I'm in St. Louis.
Cool. So I would go online and I would find FISBOs. I would go on Zillow. I would go in Facebook groups. I would go on Facebook Marketplace. I would consider some of the other strategies of the cards and shops that I told you. Do whatever the heck you have to do to have 150 conversations, to have 5 conversations a day for the next 30 days. Review at the end of every single day What did I do right? Where did the hang up come? Sometimes the seller is not ready to sell and there's nothing you can do to change it. Sometimes we're just not getting them to a conclusion. So if you identify, listen back to a couple of your calls at least once a week, by the end of 30 days, you're going to be an 8+ on the phone. And then 30 days from now, I want you to be ready to start investing in some leads. How's your finances, if you don't mind me asking?
They're not that great.
Okay. So our objective will be to have 150 conversations. Once we're an 8+ on the phone, we need to either invest in some leads, or B, partner up with somebody who has the funds and maybe isn't great on the phone or doesn't have time, at which point you'll have quality leads and you'll be the person who has the ability to be an incredible partner to that person, because you can close deals 1 out of every 7 or 10 like we do.
Okay.
What goes through your mind when I say that?
I mean, finding out. All right, let's do it. I want to make
I
it
love
happen.
that attitude. So I asked this for a specific reason, and I want to share this because this is very important to me. And Andrew, I have noted down here what I told you, and I'm going to be following up.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for you because of the shift I know will happen. And for all of you, I want to point out something happens when we begin to take responsibility. I've heard people say like, oh, my leads were crappy, or this didn't happen, or, I was late, but it was because I got in traffic. And then I have now where my team is, they don't say that anymore. But if they were to say I got in traffic, I would say, no, you just left too late. Unless it was a wreck that jammed you in traffic for 2 hours. But most of us have cell phones and we can log in the meeting otherwise. So almost never is there a actual thing that we can't control. We have to take responsibility for our own results. And I think that's such an important note for all of us. We're halfway through and we waited to delve deep into this. We have a lot more of this to cover. Until halfway, we want the people who are committed to yourself, committed to what we're building, to really begin to share, to really begin to grow, and to begin to own your success. And owning your success is the sexy part. I got a deal, 60 grand. Heck yeah, I'll take your personal responsibility. But owning your failure sucks, right? It didn't work out. I would love to say that the seller just didn't want to sell, but I suspect there was something I could have or should have said different that would have got them to the appropriate conclusion if we were a fit from each other. Why weren't we able to do that? Well, maybe the area wasn't proper. Okay, that's good to know. And that's okay. Sometimes there's things we can't control. Sometimes there is circumstances beyond us, and that's part of learning. So we don't view it as a failure per se, but we also don't make excuses. And so if we can really remove emotion and excuses from it and realize I am where I am because of my actions and my choices, everything around us begins to shift, because no longer do we say, well, I didn't make my calls, but it's because I was busy and I was tired. I'm busy and I'm tired too. Like, when you just begin to cut the crap out of our lives, everything gets so much better. What else should I be adding to that, Leo? I have a lot more, but I know time is running out on it.
Yeah, we can go, me and you just cut through the crap 99% of the time when we are talking one-on-one with someone. So we're just going to pretend like we're talking one-on-one with you. Create a marketing strategy from what you've gotten already. Create a marketing strategy. Look at your market. Have your original market, but also find an outskirt market that is within one of the major metros. Find an outskirt market because you can own that market. You can own that market very well. Okay. Now that you have that, discuss just 3 for right now. Just 3. What are the places that you're going to get leads, and what are the metrics that you're going to track? Let's just say, for example, Facebook Marketplace. Okay, perfect. That's the first lead source that we discussed. And for example, I remember Sterling and Erica. Sterling just did it. He just did the work. and he got the leads and he did the calls, and now we got something on a contract, which is beautiful. So same thing. Okay, let's just say Facebook Marketplace. I want to get 15 leads a week from there. So how many people do you have to message to get 15 leads a week? Andrew's probably gonna say do more, but I'm just gonna say right now 15 leads a week. And then Zillow. Let's just say this is the free lead. I'm strategizing for you guys right here. It's a free leads. You guys are a 4 out of 10 on the calls. Let's just say. Then you want to do Zillow. I want to get 20 leads a week. One of the easiest things you could do on Zillow is get 20 leads, because you just got to click 3 buttons to filter it out to get the FSBOs. Call all of those. Now you have those 2, and then choose one more. For example, the signs. Or talk to 10 Ubers. Or if you already take a bunch of Ubers, take an Uber and have them put up your contact information. Whatever it is, choose 3 of them that you can commit to, and every single week track the metrics of how many leads came in. Because once you get to a place where metrics can be tracked, that's where deals can be tracked. It's not up to luck anymore. Quite frankly, it's just, okay, did I get the leads? Because you're already making the calls. Perfect. Now leads, calls, the business is rolling. So that's the more logical side. Of course, me and Andrew talk a lot about the personal development, breaking through the barriers, because a lot of us need it. And, we always need it as we're growing. But for those of you who are just able to hear instructions and take the instructions and just step by step, that's what it is. Build out a marketing strategy, stick to it, commit to it for 3 months, and you will get deals.
Absolutely. I think that's really good to look at it that way, because ultimately then you look at the end of every single week and you go, all right, if I didn't get leads, I know I'm not going to be getting deals. If I did get the number of leads I committed to, I know I'm that much closer to my first or next deal. So begin to look at the business that way. I have a lot more to cover, and we are out of time. So we're going to take a few questions. Tomorrow, come back. We have some very exciting things in store with leads and deals that we're working alongside you guys. And man, we're just getting started. 30 days in, and we have not yet got energized. It's time. I've been running about a 4 the whole time. So wait till you guys see me at an 8. All right. That was another joke. All right. Questions. Put your questions in the chat. What questions do we have, and who's reading them?
All right. So we have a question from Carrie. She's asked for suggestions on the most effective type of business cards to pass out.
Ugly, bright, orange, yellow, green, I don't care. Make them ugly, and they need to say I buy houses cash on them. That's the whole message.
And social media is the best business card you can have.
That's the truth. Social media is way, way more important actually than the physical. The physical was for the tire shop idea specifically. Go ahead.
Carrie also asked, Andrew, you shared an example a few days back. If a seller owned outright, you would suggest for them to get cash refi. You would make their payments. My question is, when you now have a payment at 7 to 8%, and that would keep your payment to the seller so high you couldn't have cash flow.
The deal has to cash flow. There's 3 paydays in every single one: front end, middle end, back end. 2 of them have to be good, or one has to be phenomenally great. So if I'm going to do a house without cash flow, I need a phenomenal equity position. I need some other huge win in the deal, but almost always, with such rare exception, I don't even mention it, would I ever do a deal without substantial monthly cash flow.
Veronica says she just ordered her bandit signs and car magnets from supercheapsigns.com.
Way to go, Veronica, taking action.
Tim says, how does your conversation go when talking to a tired landlord?
Same as the rest, just asking them the questions. If we grant a price now and close whenever you want, would you be willing to give us some time to pay you off in full? I normally understand their situation quite well because I've dealt with so many now. In the beginning, I just ask the questions, find the hot button, ask the question, what do they need? And it all comes down into solving their problem. The cool thing is most tired landlords don't need the cash anyway. They was renting the property. They're just tired of the freaking headache, and they don't know what we know about lease options. So we're taking a headache off their hands, and they're just trading cash flow and headaches for cash flow and no headaches. So it's a win-win.
Can you get a paid lead service that finds sellers that will sell on terms?
That's a very interesting question. Yes, one that I trust and recommend. No, I mean, again, how much better can I ask? If I'm calling 7 people and buying a freaking house, and 80% of them are on terms, I doubt you're going to ever find a place where you make one call and buy a house, unless you're me. And I did that yesterday, but that's a different story. I say that tongue in cheek because I just signed up for a new lead source. I'm testing for you all. That's what I do. I go be the guinea pig, and then when it works, I pass it along. So we just signed up for a new lead source. First lead came in. I called him, negotiated the deal, and it looks like it's going to be a home run. But I'll bring you updates on that as soon as the deeds in hand.
Got time for another one?
I do. One more.
Alrighty. Tim asked, when you got your first deal under contract, did you already have your team assembled, such as attorney, title company, etc., or did you have to get those people after you got your offer accepted?
I love that question. I went immediately into getting deeds and deals. I didn't know who I was going to use or where I was going to get it. I did simultaneously Google up, back Facebook wasn't nearly as the thing it is now. So I just Googled up and went and called a bunch of attorneys, and finally one called me back. That's how I found my attorney. But now, no matter where you are, there's so many Facebook groups. Shoot, you can post in Circle, and there's an 80% chance somebody in Circle has an attorney in the state you're needing to close in. So just go online. Don't worry about that part. Get the deal under contract, and know in the meantime you can be posting in a Facebook group or in Circle, and you can have access to that. So, Michelle, could we post that Circle link again in the chat? All of you, if you've not been on Circle yet, Circle is the app where we continually communicate with one another. We share wins, we ask questions and answer questions, and everybody who's on here, most of you are on it. Anybody who's new and isn't yet on Circle, create your account and hop in today. All right, tomorrow is going to be even better. I can't wait to see you all. My energy's rising. Any final words, Leo?
Keep the energy up. Our energy, we're doing our best every day, keeping it up. And final message, because honestly, it gives me energy when I just give a message. Sometimes I give what I most need in the moment. But don't allow this year to be the same year as every other year that you've had. Allow this year to really be a big change where you change your charisma, you improve your charisma, you improve your ability to think, you improve your intelligence, you improve your smell, you improve. I'm saying everything, every piece. You got to think of everything. Yeah, that's on smell everything. Improve everything that you guys have, because this year I really want everyone to have, the look back year. You look back and you're like, dang, I was doing a lot of things wrong. And dang, this was a good 4 months of just crushing it. And I'm sweating and I'm tired, but I'm a 10 out of 10 and life is good. So see how my energy is already up. My energy is already up and I'm excited. So another thing is give what you most need. Okay. That's my message for today. And take action on what we went over.
Absolutely. Excited, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for committing to yourself and continuing to show up. Things are just getting better and better every day. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Rock and roll. Peace. Bye, guys.